Greetings Marines, FiOth here, and in this video I'm gonna drop on your lap a set of very important and integral tips that will make your life during this deployment that much easier. Dark Descent depends a lot on RNG, and if RNG doesn't like you, you can end up with your back against the wall pretty easily and have to restart the whole game. You cannot have manual saves and you cannot really manage the situation at will, so understanding the mechanics from early on and playing as the game's intended to be played is gonna make your life a lot easier and your gameplay a lot more enjoyable. Without further ado, let's get to it. Let's start real easy. At some point early in the first mission you will be able to visit the armored vehicle and take it for a ride back to the Otago. Do this as soon as possible and the screen you see in front of you will appear. Why is it a good idea to do that? You will be able to converse with various characters, get the plot moving forward, and make basic upgrades that will lead into making your next deployment that much more manageable. Very little is lost when you get back to Otago from a deployment, and that pretty much boils down to time progressing, so don't be afraid to get back, develop your tech, and come back stronger after a couple of days. As with every strategy game, it is extremely important to understand what we're looking at when visiting the map screen. I'm gonna give you a couple of pointers here. You cannot be paused and looking at the map at the same time. That includes both your slowdown and your outright pause if you prefer pausing in the options menu, and allows you to see any collectibles in any area that you have stepped foot in. So as soon as you enter a room, open the map, check what is available, and also take advantage of the fact that you have a legend tab, a map tab, and a brief tab that will show you how many data pads and overall resources you have collected out of the grand total of the map. So if you're methodical, if you don't skip any rooms and check every single one via the map to see what it holds, you will not miss on a single material, on a single health pack. Very important for building your overall economy. Some things will be easier for me to explain if we are looking at them from the base tab. So first and foremost, although it might sound like a little thing, assigning roles and naming your Marines to something recognizable will work wonders towards you being able to have the best possible information at any given moment. What do I mean? I'll give you an example. Let's take my Taker for example. Taker is Hudson. If you know who Hudson is in the movie, you know what his role would be. He's a technician. So as soon as I see this symbol here, the Taker symbol, I know that I'm dealing with Hudson, whom I have trained to be able to utilize a drone. That's the path I took him down. So you don't have to always open a tab to check what the character has equipped or what kind of abilities they have. If you have named them after something you will recognize at a glance, it will be that much easier for you to plan ahead, manage them on the field, and train them fast and efficiently when you are back at the base. Dietrich is the medic. I see Dietrich or I see the medic symbol and I know exactly what this character has on them. Simple as that. I don't need to fumble, it becomes second nature. It's like muscle memory. You understand what you can expect from each and every one of them, and this will make your job that much easier. A class you need to remember and train as soon as possible is Recon. Recon with two very specific things. Research the sniper rifle and get the silencer upgrade. What this allows is for you to execute the precision shot skill without making any fuss. What does this allow you to do? You can execute the roaming drone that will alert the entire hive if they spot you from extreme distances without making any noise. It is invaluable to allow you to escape encounters that you would have to fight unavoidably otherwise, and on top of everything else, if you don't fight, you do not build stress, your characters do not suffer from trauma, and the mission becomes that much cleaner. There are instances where stealth is not gonna help you, and the sniper rifle in this case is a very high damage one-shot weapon that will kill most non-boss targets with one shot. So train the recon as soon as you can. Second most important thing you can have, I believe, is the Taker, and that is because the Taker can unlock specific areas that will allow you to get a strategic advantage when it comes to positioning and loot more stuff per mission. Looting more stuff per mission will allow you to have a better base economy. Very, very important, start doing it from as early as possible. Having this on your characters, the looter perk, allows you to loot 10% more materials. Whenever you loot materials, you get 10 material points. If you have one person with this, you will get 11. If you have two, you'll get 12, and so on and so forth. Very important basic unit prioritization and structure in order to have the best possible results. As soon as you are able, start hunting for this common attribute, redemption. What redemption does is remove the negative character trait that each marine starts with. Here on my Hicks, for example, I wasn't able to get it yet, I wasn't lucky, and he's still suffering from the clumsy trait. Alien detection time is reduced by 10%, does not stack with other bonuses of the same type. That means that we get detected 10% faster. Every marine, without exception, starts with a personality trait that is always negative. Getting a redemption at some point down their path will remove this negative personality trait and allow you to have a clean slate from which to move and keep training them the way you want them. As you can see, the depressive, the wounded, the exhausted, these are all things that suffer throughout the mission, but because I have utilized redemption, there is no personality trait here. This marine is now clean and can be at peak efficiency. In Dark Descents, there is no manual saving. You have two modes to play in. One is the normal mode and one is the no one can hear you scream mode, but you cannot dictate when the game saves. That is why I suggest you fiddle with the RNG a bit. What do I mean by that? Every time you finish a mission or a deployment, you'll have to proceed to the next day. If I click next day here, I am given some choices. What should we do before the day is out? Here, every single one of my choices is negative. We do not want this, because if you have enough bad RNG in this game, you'll never be able to recover from its effect. What am I gonna do now? I am going to load my save. In the after battle report the same day, and as soon as I am here and I've done everything in my other tabs, I click next day again. Now I have two different available events. If you try again, you might even get a positive one. So don't fret if you don't get something sustainable the first time. You can always load and try again. The same can be said about training your marines. Whenever you have this yellow cross, it means that you can get something new on this specific character. The upgrade slots for the general upgrades are always the same, according of course to the class as well. But what class you can level a character into and the commons you get after its level up are picked at random. So if you're gonna go into some disastrous case of everyone being able to train into a medic and a recon and you cannot get any gunners or you cannot get any sergeants, give a balance, load sometimes until you get a class that you want to upgrade or a common attribute that you're gonna gain, and reload until you can get what you want. It sounds a little bit like cheating, but it is 1,000 times better than getting yourself into a corner where your units just aren't up to scratch and you won't be able to progress the game or have an overall miserable experience. Now, one very important thing to understand in this game is that we're dealing with a mechanic that is pretty much in no other game. It is the psychological trauma mechanic. That differentiates Dark Descent from other tactical games like this, because in most games you have to only deal with wounds. So for example, we'd go into our medical quarters and we can see here, for example, that Nova, my recon, needs 5 days to recover. Remember, 1 day will pass no matter what if you click on the next day tab to go into the next mission. So if you see 1 here, let's say I use 4 physicians to reduce this. As soon as you see the number 1 here, it means that once the day is done and we move into the next one, this Marine will have been healed. You don't have to get them to 0. Psychiatric health works the same way, but first the Marine will have to be out of Mayday. So if we want Nova to be treated for psychiatric trauma, let's check what she has here. She's borderline. The stress relief that the Marine was using Naproliv or having a rest is increased by 50%, but all stress damage is also increased by 50%. If we're gonna get rid of that, we have to first go into medical, get Nova into a healthy state, and now that she's not here, we can go into psychiatric, and you see that she is available for treatment. She will need approximately 2 days to heal from this, because 2 trauma points are deducted every time the psychiatric care unit treats her when you first get access to it. So we click therapy and put her in here. You cannot speed this up by applying additional physicians at the start of its availability. So she will have to either stay here for 2 days, or if you stop the process in the middle of it, you get no benefits. So manage your stress, take care of them during the mission, and bail if need be, or rest in fortified locations, and make sure you avoid overstressing them. The overall stress mechanic is explained in a tutorial, but knowing how to manage them in a base is an intricate process, and that's why I want to take a moment here to break it down. So these are my 7 starting tips that will serve you well from the beginning to the end of Aliens Dark Descent. I hope you found them useful. You can trust in yours truly to bring you ideal kit builds, weapons, and all the goodies throughout the course of this game's lifespan. So stay tuned, sub, like, and share for more Aliens Dark Descent, and until next time, be well, stay frosty, and always strive for perfection. Cheers!